Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Talk Twenties podcast. We've got someone in the studio today that has been an incredible business founder. She's done so many things. She's been on a really big reality TV show as well, and she is doing wonderful things in life. And I just know this episode is going to be something that you will really, really love. She's going to talk all about how she pitches great big opportunities in businesses, how she brings her vision to life. I saw her speak at an event a few years ago and I had to get her on the podcast. So we have today the lovely Verity. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. No, I'm a big fan of this. Super excited for this episode.
Hey, you're listening to the Talk Twenties podcast. If you want to join in on the community discussion, head over to our YouTube channel. Just search Talk Twenties. Or if you're driving or working and you just want to listen to the audio, you can still stay here on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. For full transparency, we love bringing you guys loads of free weekly content. But in order to do this, we do work with brand partners who you'll hear from in this episode, including an advertisement from Zopa Bank. We hope you enjoy this week's episode, and over to future Gabby to intro today's guest. Thank you so much for coming up because you're based in London. You've come up on the train very early doors this morning.
Yeah,
like a
5:30 in the morning.
Wow, a very early train, but you said you like early mornings.
I love it. Well, no, I hate early mornings. I actually despise them. However, if you're going to get on a train, there's nothing worse than a daytime train. It's just such a waste of life.
Yeah.
Really early, really late, and you can just bash out loads of work.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we always kickstart the podcast by asking people what they were doing this time last year to show us a little picture of something that was going on this time last year, maybe something you haven't posted. We want an insight into your life, basically. What were you doing 365 days ago?
You will actually have a very good day this time last year.
Okay.
Because I was like, it's going to be something terrible, like a bad selfie or something. And it's actually when we filmed Maiden Chelsea in Clean Kitchen for like the very first time.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know how it was going to go. I didn't really know what the scene was going to be because it's all like very last minute. And you sort of get told what you're doing when you get there. So it's me in a hairnet. Oh, I can't believe they did this to me. One of the producers, who I absolutely love, called Connor, was like, health and safety hairnets. I was like, they don't wear hairnets back there. Like, they have like a hat and stuff. Especially I do not wear a hairnet. He's like, wear a hairnet. And it was just like comedy gold, me teaching Freddie how to make this burger, which looked terrible. But he actually ended up interning for us, like literally. Like I paid him money.
Oh my God.
So it is a reality. So yeah, this is a few selfies today, but
that's so fun.
Yeah, I've got the rubber gloves on. Got the
oh my God, I love it.
Yeah,
with the hairnet and the
hairnet
in the background.
I was like, that's just so ridiculous.
Did that photo make it to social media?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. It's fun.
Got some sandwiches. That was my life a year ago. Yeah. Just like burgers and sandwiches. So me and my horse.
Give us a bit of a perspective then a year ago, because that really does bring your kind of the two biggest things that you're probably working on. Maiden Chelsea, which a lot of people will know you for, and Clean Kitchen, which was obviously your whole world. Tell us about that time, because that was obviously a year ago.
Well, yeah, it was a good time of my life. I think obviously Clean Kitchen was like an amazing experience for me. It was my very first like actual business. We raised a lot of money behind it. And it was always like the great opportunity to get Clean Kitchen on a mainstream TV show. Like amazing. It's going to be great to get extra people in the restaurant, get more views on TikTok, etc. So like that was just my perfect collaboration. So I'm really happy that happened. And it really was like the collision of two worlds. Maiden Chelsea started when I was 25 years old, like so long ago, and then Clean I started and kept them very separate to start off with. So yeah, it was amazing to see them come together. But yeah, it was a busy time, like filming a TV show at the same time as running a business. I was awful to my schedulers because I was also like raising investment. You just have to drop everything if someone says, yes, I can meet you, but I can't film. I really felt bad. So they were basically running the schedule around me at that time. So yeah, I felt a bit like a diva, and I was busy. I was running, not walking through life. I was not taking time to like smell the roses, and I wish I could tell myself back then, calm down, like just slow down, let's take it all in. You're in an incredible time of your life, but you are going too quickly. So yeah, good times, but also very busy.
What an amazing thing to look back on. And it's the reason why we do that, like look back at 365 days, because I think we grow so much through our 20s and we learn so much that a year can often feel like a decade in your 20s.
No, I felt like that was yesterday.
Oh, you really feel like it was yesterday?
I think that has just flown by, and I couldn't believe that was a year ago. Like, so much has happened to me this last year. I've learned so much in business, my personal life. I've really had like a big reality check. And I think me now compared to last year, I've had the biggest personal growth I've ever had in my entire life. Like, I'm getting shivers even thinking about it. I've just really realised like what is important in life. And I used to think that success meant money. Like I wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer because you could earn like 100k a year.
Mm-hmm.
I was always thinking about like the monetary success, but now it's like I just want to be happy. I'm in my soft girl era, apparently. Someone told me.
I love that.
I just want to be happy, and if you're doing truly what you love, you're on top of your own schedule. You'll be the happiest.
Yeah,
you really will be. And so I feel like I'm like nailing it now because I'm doing a business like on my own, like Pilates, which we'll come to later. So yeah, completely different person, and so much self growth.
And how did like you end up on Maiden Chelsea? Was that like because you said you were 25? Did it come about quite organically, or
no? I schemed it. That wasn't manifesting. That was like a plan. There's a difference.
Yeah.
I used to watch the show. My mum used to come into my bedroom. I'd be really embarrassed that they'll be talking about someone being cheated on. And I was like super young, and I just knew I was going to be on that show. I don't know how or why. Like I'm from a really small village in the middle of nowhere in Dorset. Mm-hmm. So the fact I was ever going to get on a Maiden Chelsea was just, it wouldn't happen. But at university, I started mixing like in a similar crowd. Went to university in London. Ended up sort of hanging out with this kind of people, coincidentally, I think. And then someone spoke about me off camera, and the producers sometimes like accidentally leave your mic on. Mm-hmm. And someone mentioned my name. Like, oh, let's get Verity on. So I think a producer stalked me down, texted me when I was like sailing a boat back in Trinidad and Tobago. I was like, this is the weirdest time of my life. I'm going on a reality show, but I'm also in the middle of the Caribbean. Like, what am I doing with my life? I was like, yeah, why not? Like, I've just said yes to every opportunity in life, like too many. Said yes to too many. But yeah, went for it. And it just honestly was so much fun. And I feel like a lot of people slate reality TV shows, but you know what you're getting yourself in for. It's quite clear it's for entertainment purposes. So don't, slate something that's given you an amazing platform. Like, I'm super thankful for it, and I still dip in and out of it. A lot less now, but like I still do it because I just, you're getting paid to hang out with your best friends. Like, I just love it. I enjoy it, and you can really make amazing businesses off the back of it if you're savvy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a whole generation now of young people that probably are way more open-minded to it. I think like older people probably have a bit more of like, oh, like it's it can be damaged, but I think a lot of young people can see the opportunities and the benefits that being on TV and having, going on Love Island for 6 weeks or however long it is, like, can then have to your career.
I also think I hit the reality TV market when it was sort of evolving. Like, it's just, it's exponentially expanded since I first started, and I think now it is the main source of TV. So I think it's in a different category than it was when I started. And like Instagram just like completely came off the back of it naturally. But when you start TV when you're young, you're still very like malleable, and all of a sudden you get this following. You don't really know what to do with it. But now, knowing what reality TV is, you could seriously pre-plan that out, going, right, this is going to be, my character. I'm always going to drop in that I want to be a restaurateur. Oh, and then I'm going to start a restaurant. Like, you can really scheme it and be like super successful with it. But yeah, having loads of followers, especially when you're young, I guess it's overwhelming, and you really open yourself up to like the general audience without any filters back then. Whereas I think now people are a lot more, that you're thinking about your post a lot. You feel like everyone's judging you a bit more because sort of everyone has this following and everyone's on Instagram. But yeah, you can really use reality TV to your benefit. I wouldn't do it again. I'm sort of done with the reality side of things, but I would recommend it if you're young. Yeah.
And how did you then, obviously, because I think you studied Biomedical Science and nutrition. How did, like, obviously that play a part in, like, because you're so interested in
reality
nutrition.
TV.
Well, no, because obviously it's like, it's lent into like clean kitchen and stuff.
Of course.
But like you came from that, because I think obviously you talk a lot about, when I heard you speak at the event, you spoke about how your passion for science and nutrition, you had this idea for clean kitchen.
Yeah.
But you need business acumen to have done what you've done. So where did that come from?
So I think, science, I've always been like a big problem solver. And so I was always very good at science and maths. And I just have this really huge passion about wellness and how you can live your best life through, it's called epigenetics.
Okay.
So it's like how your outside environment, your lifestyle, what you eat, nutrition, even your stress factors can actually alter your DNA permanently or like semi-permanently and change your actual like phenotypes, like your characteristics. And to me, like when I was picking what like course I should do, I was like, that is mind blowing. Like I really want to go into like DNA and how I can make everyone live their best life. And I've really stuck by that. So I just thought that was absolutely fascinating how we can just totally change our like our personalities
I find
and our
that
traits.
so interesting.
Yeah, and you're still hugely passionate about it now. But so that's what I loved doing at university. And I actually remember sitting in my uni hall, like first day of uni, and it had like a pie chart, and I was like, 50% went into being a doctor, and there was this 1% that said other, and I was like, that's definitely going to be me. Like, who knows what my career is going to be after this? So yeah, always had this passion, but my first job out of uni had nothing to do with like biomedical science. Maiden Chelsea, nothing. My dad at the time was like, what are you doing on a reality TV show? You've got this amazing like degree. So that's why I was really happy with Clean Kitchen. I was like, great, I can actually use this degree and put it into good use, really.
And was Clean Kitchen like your idea? Like, how did you come up with it? Like, what were your plans? What was the beginning?
Clean Kitchen, actually, no, it wasn't my idea. So it was lockdown had happened. You couldn't film for Maiden Chelsea. Brand deals weren't really happening at the time. I was like, oh my goodness, how am I going to make any money? So that's when Pilates came in. But at the same time, I was really focusing on like my personal brand, which was like sustainability, animal welfare, Pilates, just like a health and wellness kind of queen. And I think through the content I put out, someone randomly messaged me saying, look, I've got this company. At the moment, we've just got one dark kitchen in the back of a restaurant in London. Do you want to sort of join as the face of the brand? You can do our sustainability policy. You can make sure like our nutrition is like top notch. We're using the best meat substitutes, etc. And you can help do like PR marketing, get it on TV, etc. I was like, great, I will do 1 day a week. That is it. And I'll say yes to this, but I'd never had like a contract like that before. Like I'd been given shares for the business. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't really talk to that many people about it either because I'm very independent, and I feel like that is definitely like a downfall of myself. I just feel like I can do anything on my own. So I wish I'd asked for advice. Signed this contract. Looking back on the contract now, it's actually like hilarious. Like a 5-year-old wrote it and a 5-year-old signed it. You know what I mean? Like a lot of growth there.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I have no idea what's going to happen here, but let's just give it a go. But I really enjoyed my filming side of things, and I loved what I was doing like socially and with Pilates, because that was like my actual business at the time. Like it really grew in lockdown. However, week by week happened, and I just got more and more involved with this business. It was also lockdown, so I had time to do so. Mm-hmm. And Clean Kitchen just started like popping off. Like every influencer was ordering it. Like Little Mix were organically like ordering our food. Like it was all over like Southwest London. We then branched to more like dark kitchens, so you don't have like a physical front. It's just in the back of like pubs or whatever. And it was like hustle period. Like we haven't raised any money. We're completely bootstrapped. How big can we make this business? Just rolling on cash flow.
Hello, gorgeous listeners. If this is the first time you're tuning into the Talk 20s podcast, allow us to introduce you to our headline sponsors, Zopa Bank, home of the Smart Saver account. If you're a long-term fan of the podcast, you'll already know about Zopa's Smart Saver, which lets you save into personalized pots and boost your savings in exchange for a notice period to access your funds. The longest notice period is 95 days and offers the highest interest rate. To find out more about Zopa's Smart Saver, download the Zopa app. We need to tell you that you need to save a minimum of £1, and the interest is paid monthly and is subject to variation. On with the show.
And that was actually like really good times, because I think the first year you start a business is the best, because it's like you can use your imagination and you have nothing to lose. You don't have any investors that you need to like live up to their standards. You're just on your own, and you can just sort of see where it takes you. You can make mistakes and try things. So we ended up having, I think, like 5 dark kitchens around London, which even that was just like crazy how we expanded so quickly. And then we thought, right, we need a physical storefront. Don't want to raise investment yet. Let's just prove like the MVP, the middle product without any investment. So on cash flow, we had to call like suppliers and get like supplier terms. I had to get like free stock from brands to be like, I'll post it for you, but we're going to sell it in our restaurant. And it was an absolute shambles. But, you live and you learn, and everyone starts not knowing anything in life. But yeah, managed to put this restaurant together. I thought it was the coolest thing in the entire world in Camden. And then it was at that point that we were like, right, we've got a restaurant here. Like, this is working. Let's go to raise investment and see how big we can take this. So yeah, that's sort of how Clean Kitchen came about.
Mm-hmm. I think it's really interesting. How did you know that it was something that you was worth putting your energy into? Because I think when you're younger and you have lots of different opportunities, it's hard to know which one is the right one to go for. Do you know what I mean?
I think I know what you mean, but I've just said yes to every opportunity. And like, advice to people listening to this is, don't have to say yes to everything that comes to you. Like, saying no is actually almost as good as a yes sometimes, but I can't say no. Like, I get huge FOMO, and I'm learning now to actually say no. And my life is so much better for it. Like, it's much more calm. I'm not a busy idiot anymore. So I think, yeah, that's a really good point. Like, you really need to choose where you need to first of all think about where you want to be next year in 5 years' time. And we were talking about this earlier. So it's a really fine line with being like, okay, I can be a master of a jack of all trades, or I can like really soar in one career path. But you've got to try everything out. But at the same time, if you've got an amazing opportunity and you can see one distinct path that's going to fly, you got to put everything to the side. You can always come back to it, but just really, rocket forward with that one thing. And I did that with Clean Kitchen. I really put everything else to the side. I sacrificed my social life, everything. We worked so hard on that. But it pays off. So yeah, I highly recommend doing that. But yeah, you can say yes, but also say no. So yeah, opportunities you should say yes to is ones that you get really excited about. Like, not ones that are like, yeah, I could do that. It's like, you would really want to do that. And I think that's where I'm now saying no to things. Like this podcast, I was like, I really want to do that. Yeah. I'm there. Other podcasts, I'm like, no. Don't resonate with it.
Oh, that means a lot. Thank you. But yeah, I think it's really difficult because a lot of us want to be able to fast forward into the future and be able to go, that was the right decision. Like, I think a lot of us who really, a lot of us aren't just choosing off like intuition. They're kind of going, okay, I want to do this because I want to be successful, or I want to live this kind of life, or I want to do this. And it's sometimes difficult to go, can I see my future going in that direction? But I think the advice you gave there is really good in terms of like thinking about, okay, what if this opportunity wasn't there, where do I want my life to be in 5 years' time?
You have to think what you would want to do without that opportunity even being there. But I think, not where I went wrong, but I was just being resourceful with whatever came in front of me.
Yeah.
Whereas like my boyfriend nailed his career because he always knew what he wanted to do. And sometimes I look at him and I'm like, oh, I feel like behind in life because I didn't have that one plan, that game plan from the get-go. But at the same time, I've had an amazing life, so I can't really complain. I'm sure that career path is happening for me now. But yeah, and I think that when you're thinking about where you want to be in the future, also think about lifestyle. Because it's like, if I wanted to be a doctor, I don't know how they do it. Like, hats off to them. Like, congratulations and like, thank you so much. But I couldn't do that. I just know I wouldn't be happy.
Yeah.
So it's like a job that you want to do, but also goes in with your lifestyle as much as you love it. Because that's going to be your everyday work.
And is that how you sat down and like, obviously we're going to jump to like Pilates with Veritys, but is that how you've kind of looked at your life now? Because spoiler alert, you've stepped back from Clean Kitchen, which we will get into. But like, is that something that you've kind of stepped back and actively gone, what do I want my life to look like? And then actively made decisions, yes, no, based on that dream, that life?
You look at things you didn't enjoy in the past and you go, well, I don't want to repeat that again. I don't want to be running around London doing 6 meetings a day, like not even knowing like where I am left, right and centre. I just want to be calm and collected, as I said in my soft girl era, doing a few things a day and really putting my like meaning into them. So yeah, I don't want to be running around London. I would like to be a digital nomad.
Yeah.
I'd like to be able to run a business wherever I am in the entire world and make money from it. And also, yeah, love what I'm doing. So 100%. And also, doesn't everyone want to do that? I don't know.
No, absolutely. I think you've got definitely thinking about lifestyle as well. Like my now husband has just had a big lifestyle change in terms of his career. And when he was looking at what he could do next, he was like, he's a golfer. So he like loves to play golf. He is really interested in what's going on with the financial markets. And he wanted something where he could he felt like it was running his own business. So he's now doing his qualifications to become a financial advisor, but it ticks all three of the things that he's really interested in,
He's
and the
gonna
lifestyle
love it.
just matches up, because, you know, how do you support your clients and stuff like that? You go and play a round of golf for them, because it's, you know, it's nicer to chat about your finances over a round of golf than it is to be sat down in a room saying, what do you want to do in X, Y, Z? Like, it feels like it completely matches his lifestyle that he wants. And so, but he's figuring that out. He's 29. Like, up until this point, he's like really not had a clue what he wants to do in his career, and has tried, you know, working in the golf industry and working in with his parents' business and stuff. Like, he's done a lot of different things, and only now has he kind of gone, okay, like, it's not too late if you're
It's
like,
never too late. You can be
late.
65 and go, I want a career change, honestly. But yeah, I think that's really important. Like, if you are doing what you love, it fits your lifestyle, and you're passionate about it, and you have your freedom, you will succeed. You will just work so hard, because work isn't work. Like, it's your everyday life. Like, you're in a relationship with your job kind of thing. It's the biggest, you know, input of your life. So make sure you love what you're doing. Otherwise, ultimately, you're not going to be happy. You're not going to succeed at it. Sorry, that's just the facts.
Well, your 365 days ago, this time last year picture, you were, like you said, running around like a headless chicken, you know, speaking to so many people across London. What did you kind of learn from that experience? Because you've obviously probably pitched in a lot of rooms to a lot of people with a lot of money, or maybe not a lot of money, but pretend to have a lot of money. What was your experience of that? What did you learn from that?
Well, I think why I was good at that is because my first ever job straight out of uni was, my friends say I was like selling TVs. It wasn't. They're like big, like, the LED screens. Basically, it's like event audio visual production.
That's a fancy word. That's a long
so it was like vision mixing, a bit of that, but mainly it was like these LED screens. And I actually ended up getting 6 of my friends from the grammar school all working for me at the same time. It was totally crazy. It was like being back at school again.
Yeah.
But that was a sales job. And so I started being like a promo girl for them. And then after uni, I was like, I don't have a job. Like, getting a job out of uni is like scary. Ended up doing this job for 3 years because I loved it. But it was a sales job. And I kind of knew I was always like good with people, etc. Like, always kind of got what I wanted. But I realised that I was very good at selling, because I was fearless. I would network. Like, my first day of my job, I ended up like actually like befriending the MD of Twitter, the CEO of Yahoo, the MD of eBay. Like, on my day one of this job, because I was just at a cool event in the south of France, and I was like, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was just going to be friends with him. And my boss was like, you're good. I was like, am I? I haven't sold them anything yet. But it's like, as long as you can get that contact, you can use it later on in life. So that's where I sort of got my like sales skill from, and I had to do like cold calling, which I really think everyone needs to go through in life.
Yeah, it's a real lesson, isn't it? In terms of
just being absolutely fearless. I would honestly call up Twitter and be like, can I speak to the MD of Twitter? And they'd be like, how do you know him? And I'd be like, well, I met him. They'd be like, sure. And I'd be like, hey. I'd be like, oh my God, what am I doing? Like, just say something. Do you want to buy a TV? I actually did end up selling a few of them TVs. But
it worked then. That's a cold call.
Yes,
it
worked.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't a cold call because I'd met him. But yeah, staying in contact with these people that you've met is super important also. And actually 3 of them that I met on the first day of my first job at uni invested in Clean Kitchen.
Wow.
Because I just learned, I've just stayed in contact with them.
Yeah.
So that's where I got this like sales ability from. And I'd have to walk around like trade shows and just walk up to people being like, you've got a cool TV now, but do you want a better one and at a better price next year? Just like fearless. And doing a lot of work like independently on my own. So when it got to this like process of running around London pitching, which I wasn't meant to be doing anyway. If you remember, I was doing 1 day a week at Clean, but slowly and surely got more involved with the business when we needed to raise money to open more sites. I think it is, I guess from experience, yes, you're going to learn from it, but also it's kind of your personality or it's not your personality. You can't be good at everything. Like I'm not a creative person, but like I'm good at that. So it was like really leaning into what I was good at. And if you're good at something, you naturally fall into it and enjoy it more. So I think that's where that happened with Clean Kitchen. And I just, I loved it. I was like, this is cool. But at the same time, I was raising money for something I really believed in. Like at the end of the day, I'm saving animals, which is like my biggest like passion of life. And it was just like going through the stages of creating this business. Like we ended up raising just under £5 million, which still blows my mind. At how old was I? Like 26. Like that's just crazy. But yeah, I learned a lot about pitching, etc., and like sales technique. So as I said before, like if someone has said yes to meet you, drop everything and go and see them as soon as you possibly can. Never push it into the next week ever, because you never know what's going to happen next week. They might get disinterested, or some other opportunity might come up. So always get them as soon as you can and meet them face to face. Always try to remember something about them, like personal you can like bring up, and always ask them like questions if you're like on emails or texting, etc. And yeah, I think pitching, you need like your patter. So you need to tell your story, but always have sent your pitch deck beforehand, but you need a good story that they're going to like get involved in. And then, why it's different to other businesses. What actually is the business, first of all? Why is it different? You need to have a good team around you, so who's working for you, and, a good business plan, like what you want to achieve in 1 year, 5 years' time, and how they're going to get their money back.
That's amazing. Honestly, I'm already sat here, I'm like taking notes. I think for a lot of people, it feels like quite a scary concept to raise, and especially in the like if you're a woman as well. Like I think a lot of these things like are geared towards like men. You don't hear many women. I think Grace Beverley is another great example who is very open and honest about how she's raised. She even shares her pitch decks, I think, on her YouTube channel and stuff like that. And it's really interesting to see, because I think that not enough like women that I look up to, for example, are open enough about this. And it's really helpful to then see, because if you can see one woman do it, you can then go and do it yourself.
Absolutely. And I think where we sort of took the bull by the horns and ran with it is because we were so naive. We still didn't know what we were doing. Cool, we had a restaurant. We just about nailed that. Still not perfect, but we were just like, let's just go for it and see what happens. But in the same breath, I didn't know what came in with raising money. Like, that is a lot of responsibility. That is a huge weight on your shoulders. You're literally taking someone's money, which could sometimes be like up to £500,000, and go, okay, I'm going to take that from you and I'm going to give it back to you in 3 years plus extra. Like that, do not take that lightheartedly. And I think that can actually get a lot of like entrepreneurs seriously down if they're not, matching up to their forecast that they sent when they first went out to raise money. And obviously the economy had quite a tough time recently, and networking with other founders, it's like, they found it hard. I think that can really take its toll on some people. Go into it really lightheartedly. If people want to raise, make sure that you've completely bootstrapped first. You really don't need to spend like one extra penny. You don't need to be giving away that equity. Get your valuation as high as possible. Get that revenue and profit line as high as possible before you raise. And also, I think raising money is the easy bit, in my opinion. It's using that money and creating a return that is to be commended. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we're all still working out the best way to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. The business decided to make a decision that you didn't feel like you were in line with, because obviously you said you really feel very passionately about saving animals. That meant that you ended up stepping back from Clean Kitchen.
Yeah,
how
crazy time of my life, which really wasn't that long ago. What happened was we got things wrong in Clean Kitchen. We opened sites that didn't work, had to close them. So we then went through like a change of management structure. So different like operational partners came in, someone in finance, different chairman. And I was very good friends. I brought the chairman in to start off with. He helped call an exit at like $500 million. So like knew his stuff. So naturally I felt a bit more distant to these people, that I wasn't working with them as closely. And they made the decision very quickly, honestly in the space of days, that to widen the menu to put meat on was going to be better, needed to happen for the business. I was like, guys, the second you make that decision, like, I'm out the door, because I didn't co-found this business to save animals to then put meat on the menu. Like, no, absolutely no way. Like, I will leave the same day. But at this point, I didn't really have like a voice left in the business. I think that also was really sad, because like business evolves, especially when you raise loads of money. But I said, look, if you truly think that meat is more valuable to the business than me being involved, like from everything I'm doing, raising investment, marketing, whatever, being the face of it, then there's nothing I can do about that, because I didn't really have like a battle left to fight. I was going through quite like a tough time. And I wish I'd done things differently. I really do. But my dad actually passed away at the end of last year. So I had like a whole load going on in my head at the same time as business being really tough and like investors like wanting updates and us not giving back what we said we would. So it really was like a crazy time of my life. And they decided to put meat on the menu and I left literally that day. And we were filming the last series of Maiden Chelsea and it was the event day. So all the cast is there, which I find quite overwhelming anyway, a lot of different personalities. And someone was like, Verity, you okay? In front of everyone. I was like, if you knew what was going on in my life right now, like you have no idea. I feel like my career's ended. My dad's just passed away. I'm dealing with grief. I'm dealing with grief in my business. I put my like whole working last 3 years has gone into something that's just like been taken away from me. And I found that really hard to process. But as I said at the same time, I wasn't happy in the business. So I'm glad that it did happen. I have stepped away from it. So yeah, but I learned so much from that. And that's what I was saying earlier, like my whole perspective on life changed. I feel like the day you realize you have, your life starts when you realize you only have one. Mm-hmm. And I live by that. I think I lived like that anyway, but now I really live by that. Like live every single day as it's your last because things don't last forever. Things go like that. People, businesses. So yeah, I've taken the positives out of what's happened.
Sounds like I didn't know all of that was going on for you. It sounds like so much to deal with. Like you said, there's grief in multiple ways there. Like everyone, people might talk, oh yeah, you're just leaving a business, but you're right. Like it's a whole lifestyle change. Like there's even a mourning process that you were probably going through with that. Yeah. Let alone what you were going through with your dad as well. Like how do you even get through that? Like
it was really tough. Like I would watch the sunrise multiple nights in a row. I was like, I have not slept in so long because I was just thinking, what's the perspective of me going to be from like the outsider's point of view? I started this business, it's vegan. They put meat on the menu. People are going to judge me. What the investor's going to say, especially like the big vegan ones that we have. Like how am I going to tell them? There was just so much going through my head, and I actually really regret being so wrapped up in the business that I didn't spend enough time with my dad at the time. I really, really regret that. So that's obviously another like life lesson, like priorities. You really need to get them right. No matter what's going on in your life, take a step back. Don't go too fast in life. So yeah, it was a tough time. And how do you recover from that? It's just time. And I think I bounced back quite quickly from things, but I think this took me a bit longer than normal. Like I feel like I can just speak about the whole process now. But also at the same time, I'm thinking, how am I going to make any money? Like, what am I going to do?
Which is an extra stress. You live in, we all have to pay rent and, especially in London as well. Like it's expensive. What was the rationale for putting meat on the menu?
Just they thought that it was going to widen, the demographic to clean kitchen, thinking, okay, we're not just like a vegan niche. Because like the hospitality industry, everyone's been like closing down, etc. The economy has gone in a really tough time, so people were, going out less and spending less. So they thought if we put meat on the menu, that's going to bring more customers in. And I actually think it worked. So honestly, I still support clean kitchen, from afar. But it's not something I can like personally really champion.
When you get to the point where your values no longer match up to your the business plans, and obviously that was a decision that you didn't make. Like surely that's such a difficult part to kind of go through, because when you start a business, it's all about aligning your beliefs. How important is it to work on something that you genuinely believe in?
Well, I think a lot of businesses start for one reason and end up making money for a different reason. Yes. And that is just business. And that's just the matter of fact of life. So that's just sort of how it happens. And obviously it's really hard to see that happen, but yeah, it's just going to happen sometimes. Yeah.
Has it put you off doing being in business?
No. I love it. Starting a business and growing a business is like the best experience ever. You work for yourself, you have freedom, you learn so much, and just being an entrepreneur or whatever is just the best thing. Like I really love it. Trying to see, pushing yourself every day. Like I've always started a new business and I'm working so hard on it because I just love it, believe in it so much. And I really think everyone should work for themselves if they can, because you're in charge of your own life. Like you're in charge of your own destiny. And no one likes being told what to do they? Like I think having a business partner is really important because you have someone to like bounce ideas off of, or they can like add to the skills that you don't have, and two brains are better than one. So they can kind of tell you what to do sometimes if you need direction. But yeah, I think everyone should give it a go. Don't raise loads of amounts of money. If you don't want to, you really have to be cut out for that. But yeah, a little business for sure.
And tell me, I mean, I'm sure it won't end up being a little business, but tell me what you're doing with Pilates and Verity now.
Yeah, so Pilates is something that I started. When I was filming Maiden Chelsea, I quit the TV job and I thought, like, brands are paying me money to sell things. I just should have my own business and I can sell, my own product, make even more money. So did Pilates, trained to be a teacher, and then in lockdown, I had like over 2,000 people over the course of lockdown join these live Zoom classes. And I was like, what? This is crazy. I've only taught like 3 times properly before lockdown happened. But I was like, do you know what? I'm qualified. Let's just go for this. Let's just back myself. And it started off small, and then I'd have like 100 people on Zoom. And I'm like, this is just crazy. I didn't have my entrepreneurial brain then. Now I'd have been like, that is cool. That is this like demand, run with it. So, but it was wrong timing. Timing is everything in life and in business. So yeah, when clean stopped, I naturally was like, great, back to the other business. So I created an app, and I still have an amazing blog community, even though it's been like 4 years since I taught on Zoom and lockdown. And it's all about wellness, which I'm really passionate about. Starting off like as a Pilates app, which I was saying to you earlier, everyone should be doing Pilates. It has changed my physique, my mentality, my hormones. It really has changed my whole life since I've been back properly focusing on it, because you don't have to commute to go to the gym. You don't have to pay for a gym membership. It's a lot cheaper. You can work out from your own home. You don't have to use any other weight. You can just use your body weight. And my body is hurting from like a class I taught 2 days ago with just my body weight. You feel amazing. You can do 10 minutes, you can do 45 minutes, wherever you are. And it's so easy to stay consistent. You can do it outside. You don't always have to do it from your living room. You can do it with your friends. So it's so versatile. And it's super important as we get older, in your later 20s, that you need to look after your joints. So you shouldn't be doing all this high impact intensity running and training. You need to look after your joints so you don't get arthritis, and your posture and your back and your core. It's just so important to think about your health before anything else, because without that, there's no point of having any money. So yeah, that's the main cool thing. It is Pilates as an app subscription. And it's going really well. I've got guest trainers coming on, so we do a live every other week. I do loads of cool events, in-person events. We did an amazing one at the Sky Garden, had like 100 people there at 8 a.m. on Sunday. I don't know who's getting up that early. So yeah, it started, I only launched this a month ago, and it's really started off with a big bang. And I have so many more things. I'm just really excited about it, because you can do anything in life if you put your mind to it. And just because someone else can do it doesn't mean someone else is doing it doesn't mean you can do it better, or in a slightly different way. Mm-hmm. But I guess there's a million Pilates teachers out there, so I'm not, I've got my competition, but I want to bring that biohacking aspect into it as well, so like the epigenetic side, and just tell people like really simply how they can better themselves by how they're surrounding themselves, their stress levels, their nutrition. So yeah, it's going really well, and I'm super excited about like where it's going to go. I
think it comes back to what you said like a few moments ago, and you said like the day your life starts is the day you realize you've only got one life. Like it's the health side of things, the epigenetic side of things that you've been talking about. That really encompasses everything that I guess you believe in. So, and hopefully this isn't one where someone will come in and go, actually, we're going to put burgers on the menu for everyone.
Yeah, no, we're not doing Pilates anymore, it's cycling.
It's cycling, exactly. And no one's going to come in and do that. So, this is something that you could probably go to the moon with. And like you say, like, I really like that you mentioned there about competition. Like, obviously, you're not the first person to do a Pilates app or to train to be a Pilates instructor. But, like, I think the way that you kind of, because I think people's first thought is like, oh yeah, I want to do something like that. Oh, but there's already this many other people doing it. Like, when you think about that, like, what more are you telling yourself in terms of like, no, I can do this, even though there's 20 other people.
Yeah, even though there's loads of other people doing the same thing as you, you've got a completely different skill set and a different life experience, and you can bring so many different things to the table that they're not necessarily doing, or maybe they're doing it in a different way. So cool, you have a skill you can sell, whether that's Pilates or a podcast, whatever. You're up against a million other companies, but what's your niche? Is it marketing you're amazing at? Do you have an amazing TikTok strategy? Do you collab with actresses and stuff? Like every business, it's the skill you have. Then on top of that, it's like, what can you then add on to make that business even better? Like with Clean, it's like, cool, we had a product, but our niche as founders was marketing, whereas other niches is like speed of service. Do you know what I mean? That there's always that different, like, and when you get them all together, all of those skills together, then you head for the stars.
Absolutely. I'm actually really wanting to get into Pilates because we were saying before, I have a cheerleading injury that's really old, like 10 years old, which means I have a bad back, and then I've got kind of a new area that has started to flare up over the weekend, and I'm like,
no.
Right, guys, like I really need to focus. And things for me is like, I spend a lot of time at my desk. Things for me like posture, like I want to feel really good and really healthy. I'm very much on like a really healthy, in a really healthy headspace, more than I've ever been probably in my life. For someone that's literally just starting out with Pilates, what do they need to know? I.e. me.
Pilates is what you need to know is that it's not just like a load of movements thrown together. It really is training your mind to focus about every single different muscle in your body. So like when you're doing abs, you're not doing a sit-up. You're really thinking about your transverse abdominals, your obliques, focusing on different parts of what you're doing, and your alignment is so important. If you are the tiniest little bit out of alignment, you're going to do it wrong. You're working the wrong muscles. So having a really good instructor that's coaching you through like what exactly to do with your posture and your body is so important. Otherwise, you're not going to get the most efficient workout. I think that's the most important thing. Yeah, it's just doing it to a very good technique. And then once you do it, you get kind of addicted to this like technique because your brain just like zones out, and it's kind of like meditation, it's therapy because you're so in control of your body. And I think it makes you live your life even more to like a higher level of wellness because you're really precious about your body because you've just spent so long training that one area.
How many times a week should you do Pilates?
I think 4 to 5 times a week.
Okay.
But one session can be like 10 minutes just to refocus yourself. Like when you wake up in the morning, everyone should be stretching when they wake up. Even if it's like a roll down, let's get the mobility into the back. 10 minutes, cool. But yeah, I think 4 to 5 times a week, 10 to 40 minutes, or even 20 minutes a day. You really can just like whack your mat out. Everyone's got 20 minutes spare that they can just do it, and you just reset yourself. And it makes you work harder. It makes you more productive. It makes you happier. It's a no-brainer, and I don't know why people don't do it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm really excited. I think you've convinced me. I'm signing up to the app this afternoon because I do think for me it's, especially with yoga and things like that, I struggle to make my mind go quiet, like in those situations. And I think it's really nice to be able to, like you say, like focus on those things and have something that is like really trying, even though I find it really hard to like make my mind quiet, that actually is going, no, just because I find that hard doesn't mean I shouldn't push through that.
Yeah, I think Pilates is amazing at that. But beforehand, I used to run so far. Why did I do that when I was younger? I used to do like 20-kilometer runs like once a month. Normally like 10Ks, but I don't know why I do that. And I used to do really high intensity workouts like Barry's and stuff. And that was not good for my body. I think that caused me loads of inflammation. It drove my cortisol levels up, so like your stress hormone. I think I actually ate more because of it. Now it's like my body doesn't need this high intensity. You can do high intensity in Pilates. You can add some weights and add a bit more of aerobic in. I think running 5K once a week is amazing, great for you, like for your endorphins, etc. But this high intensity training, you really don't need to be doing it. And long term, it's just really bad for your joints.
Interesting. If you're watching the Talk 20s podcast on YouTube, you'll always see that we have these drinks out on the table. They're Riviera Ice Tea. And I was honestly so excited when they reached out to sponsor the podcast because I am obsessed, like seriously obsessed with iced tea. If I'm getting a meal deal, I'm getting an iced tea. If I'm on holiday and I don't fancy something alcoholic, I'm ordering an iced tea. And now here in the studio, we have iced tea on tap always, and our guests love it. Riviera Ice Tea is also low calorie, natural, vegan, and gluten-free. What a bonus. And the peach iced tea from them is genuinely the best I've ever tasted. You can only get these drinks online right now. So run, don't walk, over to rivieraicedtea.com and fill your fridge with something super refreshing this summer. We asked the same 3 questions to all of our guests when they come on the podcast. And I love hearing people's answers because it's always so unique depending on the person. The first one we always talk about is the fact that failure is good, and we've all failed or feel like we failed at something in life. What's one thing, like big or small, that you feel like you've been through recently that you've gone, oh, that was a big epic fail? Because we want to get our listeners thinking like it's okay to do stuff and sometimes get it wrong, because you get one step closer to figuring out what you do want to do. What is something that springs to mind that's like,
I mean, it's pretty obvious to me. Starting a vegan business, ending it up having meat on the menu and having to step away, having raised all this money. I feel like that is a huge failure. And I used to be so proud of like not having to fail and what's everyone going to think of me. But just because you're doing something doesn't mean you still have to keep doing it. If you've been in a job for 3 years or whatever, and you feel like you want to hit these targets, or you feel like you're not stuck into anything in life. Your biggest thing you'll be stuck into is if you've raised money for a company. And even then, if you're not happy in it, there's always like a moral resolution where you're not letting people down. Like that's the main thing. Don't let people down. But I think that's a huge fail. You know, I never knew where the journey was going to take me with Clean Kitchen. And I really did feel like I failed. And that took a lot to pick myself back up again. I was like, I'm rubbish at this. I was like, my self-worth went down. You know, I was like, I wasn't good at it. You know, I was like, that really...
I think the complete opposite, you know. Having obviously heard you speak like 2 years before, I don't think that you failed at all in that. I think you absolutely succeeded. That business blew up because of you. And then the fact that you kind of came out and said like, I'm not doing this anymore because I morally can't do it.
Yeah.
That's... The way you handled it, I don't think is a failure. Me personally, I don't think anyone listening would think it was a failure either, because it was out of your control.
But I like to really persevere in life, and I don't start something unless I'm going to finish it. And I feel like I walked away. I walked away from a business, and I think the main thing with business is consistency, and businesses will succeed until you give up and quit. You can't do it anymore. And that was me. And I remember, you know, saying to myself beforehand, being like, yeah, that's why businesses fail, because the founder can't do it anymore. They walk away. And I did that exact thing. So I feel like I failed there. And I don't know, maybe...
But it will probably continue to exist in what it's doing right now. Like, it's not like the whole thing's collapsed. But it you know, you're now fulfilling something that you need to do, I guess, with instead of me trying to be like, come on, Verity, no, it's good. Like,
well, I guess the take-home point to that is like I felt like I failed.
Yeah.
And I guess I have it on a stand piece, because I thought, what are all my followers going to think about me? What are all these investors going to think about me? Like, it was in the press, like the Times were writing about it. Like, it was a lot of like, that was very overwhelming. So I was really worried about what people were going to think of me, because I thought I'd failed. But don't worry what people are going to think of you if you fail. Everyone fails. Like, it's really not like, if you don't fail, how are you going to like improve in life? How are you going to have like self-growth? So it's good to fail. Mm-hmm. And actually knowing when to quit is also an amazing thing as well. And I think you learn that as you go through life.
Yeah, absolutely. We always talk about people not being like the finished product, and like literally every single person that sat on the sofa, like everybody's working through something which you can't see behind the scenes. Like, everyone is trying to get better at something in their life right now. For you, what is that one thing that you're really trying to work on behind the scenes that you wouldn't mind sharing and being like?
Yeah, I think I touched it before, but it's like priorities and timing with life. Like, I get really engaged with something and I will just like do a lot of it. Like, if I'm really into my work, I will just work. But actually, my best friends still exist. My mum is, you know, still there. Like, I should spend more time with my dad, etc. And I feel like my priorities can really get skewed, and I can be selfish at times. Mm-hmm. Like, and I know that. So I think it's, again, taking a step back when I get, you know, a bit too ahead of myself and go, oh yeah, let's just give back to those people that have been there for me this whole time. So yeah, managing relationships, I need to work on that still, and just prioritizing the right things in life.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. Sometimes business owners, and I've had business owners sit on the couch opposite me and said, you know, like, I just, you know, someone's genuinely sat there and gone, I feel like I can just hustle more. You know, like, my family's still going to be there and whatever.
Hustle more.
Yeah, literally, hustle more. And I was like, are you sure? I was like, health is so important, and you just don't know when, you know, something can happen. Like, I think I don't think you'll always regret not spending more time with your family, but I don't think you'll ever regret not working harder, because I think you're always working hard
Yeah, I love hanging out with older people. I just feel like they have like a lot of wisdom.
Yeah.
And I always ask them, like, what have you done differently in life? And a lot of them say, I wish I worked less.
Exactly.
So don't work.
Yeah.
I mean, work hard, but I think work hard, work smart.
Work smarter, not harder. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Enjoy your life, like, what's the point of working so hard if you can't do the small things in life?
But I think that sometimes shows what headspace some people are in their 20s, and that they feel like they've got to hustle.
I went through that hustle culture so much that it totally burnt me out with Clean Kitchen. But at the same time, it's like you have a business partner that's egging you on. It's like, yeah, I'm going to hustle harder. But when you're hustling like literally every second of every day, you can't physically do it anymore.
Yeah,
really,
it's tiresome.
burnt out. I think understanding when you are burnt out. I remember saying to my boyfriend, I was like, I can't do this meeting. He was like, it's your accounts meeting. I was like, I can't do it. He's like, you are burnt out. And I was like, am I? He was like, yeah, babe, you need to take a day off. I was like, okay, thanks for telling me. But yeah, when you think that small things are overwhelming that you don't want to do, that's when you need to just take a step back and yes, hustle less.
Hustle less, love that. Well, Verity, it's been amazing to have you on the podcast. I've loved chatting to you about your 20s, the whole journey that you've been on. I think you have such an interesting story, and I have no doubt that whatever you do in the future, however hard or little that you hustle, you will be an absolute success, because I just know it. You've just got it in you. If you could look back at kind of 20-year-old Verity, she hadn't been on Maiden Chelsea, she hadn't experienced what you've been through with Clean Kitchen, she wasn't probably not as entrepreneurial as you are right now.
Yeah.
What one piece of advice would you want to say to her if she was here in ghost format, like on the other end of the sofa? Yeah. If you could tell her something that would see her through her 20s, what would you want to say?
I've got two, but one that's quite practical and factual that I feel like everyone in their 20s needs to hear about.
Okay.
Set up a limited company as soon as you start earning like around 30k as a sole trader. You will save yourself thousands of pounds. I can't tell you my tax bill one year, and I was like, how am I going to afford that? Like, that is just crazy. You can literally pay yourself a salary from a limited company, which is like 12.7k that you get tax-free or whatever, and then you can pay yourself dividends that you don't have to pay national insurance on. Your tax bracket is so much lower, you will literally save yourself thousands of pounds. And I don't know why no one told me this. Like, it's
practical
mental
advice. Yeah,
practical
super
advice.
helpful.
And also the other thing is, I said earlier, but if you do what you absolutely love, which I think if I was 20 probably would have been like acting and dancing, etc., you will completely succeed, because you will love it, and that is your passion, and whatever you're doing every single day is your job. And if you don't absolutely love it, you're not going to have 100% happiness in life, which ultimately isn't going to make you the nicest person you can possibly can be, or the most positive, etc. So just do what you absolutely love, and you will make it a success, because you will constantly work hard on it, and you'll be super determined, and you'll smash it.
Amazing advice. I love this episode so much. I think it's going to be such a helpful one for people who are kind of dealing with the throes of wanting to grow in the business space, but also wanting to be well, which I think is so important, because we have to look after ourselves. I think a lot of us, who have that entrepreneurial mindset, put health at the back of our brains. And I think, this is a prime example of like a 3 kind of 60. Not that you ever put health at the back, but that you just realize what's really
exactly
important.
And I also think, like, this is classic advice, but you have to believe in yourself. As soon as you start feeling like negative about a business, or your self-worth goes down, your whole world comes down. It's so weird about how energy can change your whole experience. If you're like, I'm gonna wake up today and I'm gonna be positive, my business is gonna succeed, an opportunity will just come like through the window, or like you will just give off this energy. People want to work with you and be around you. So just always try and put yourself in a positive point of view. And if you start feeling negative, you need to think about who you're surrounding yourself with, because negativity comes from other people who are super negative. Change who you're hanging out with, just really check yourself and just get back into that positive mentality.
Yeah, absolute gold there. I completely agree with you. Thank you so much, Verity. It's been amazing to have you on the podcast. Good luck with everything you're doing.
Thanks.
And I am about to go and do my
some
first
Pilates
class.